And I think we're live again. Hang on. I got to check. You've got to check these things. Okay. Yes, it is working. All right. This is working. Yesterday I did a bunch of world building for VOIDCIRCUIT, and I've sort of roughed out 2 pages. I guess you could say I've even done the art for page 1. And there it is. I've still got to do some lettering here. Let me just walk you through it. In this first panel, we have Adrian in her ship approaching the star tomb. I was going to try and work the words VOIDCIRCUIT onto the side of the tomb, but I don't know if I quite pulled that off, so I might just take that back out. Maybe I'll just leave it in. I don't know. Who knows? And then she crosses from her ship. Which is a solar sailor. And she takes her helmet off. And then there's the pet Glimmer. And then in the opening, she's walking down the corridor. Step 1. You can tell I haven't got much drawn here. And she's noticing all the hieroglyphs on the wall. And then she remarks how old they are. And then she goes through this sort of pentagon-shaped portal, which I'll have to draw a little bit better. And confronts you can see how small she is compared to the Ecliptar progenitor, which I've got to maybe more fully realize. So that's what we're going to do today. Let's start with the lettering, and then we'll move on to, I don't know, inking or something. Now, I had a partial script. I don't have a full script. She'll just hang about. Tuco, oh, hey, how's it going? This is how far we got from yesterday. Let's see. We got to set the scene, right? So we've got our establishing shot. So, and I won't use this font. I'm going to use a different font. The one I like to use for lettering is Evil Genius, which you can get for free at Blambot. Absolutely. Let's see. So where do we establish that they are? Well, in the distant regions of the dark spiral. Let's call it the dark spiral. Whoops, cancel. Adrian. Keep going, dude. Let's see. In the distant regions of the dark spiral, Adrian approaches. Come on, man. Maybe if I use this thing here. Approaches the star tomb of V, and this is the part where, because it's not a real word, you have to spell it exactly how you want it. Ecliptar, not Evliptar. Ecliptar Throne World. In the distant regions of the dark spiral, Adrin approaches the star tomb of the Cliptar Throne World. Perfect. Right? And then we reduced that to about a 9-point type. Sounds good. Boom, boom, boom. I think that'll look okay. Like when we print this, we want to print it on, yeah, in a universe far, far away. We want to print it on, half size, because we're going to do the same thing that we did with our other, here it is, our other ash cans, which are this size, right? So we can even, like, just on the iPad, you could just compare and contrast. A little bit smaller, right about there. So is that readable? Well, maybe I should make it a little bit bigger. No. Let's make it about 12. In the distant regions of the dark side spiral, Adrin approaches the star tomb of the Ecliptar Throne World. Perfect. Okay. Can you add your own words to vocabulary so you have it in memory? Yeah, it'll. So when you're typing in stuff, it'll give you like the option to memorize. Of the dark, not the dark side spiral, the dark spiral. And let's call it something even better. Let's call it the Tenebris spiral. Sounds good. Star Tomb of the Ecliptar Homeworld. And then maybe we even have some dialogue. This is a cool trick, and it seems really obvious, but it is something that you don't normally think of when you're doing this, or at least I didn't normally think of. That's her ship. We can have dialogue just coming from the ship. And it makes perfect sense when you read it in a comic. You don't have to see the character there each time. This is a question. Are you going to do a digital zine? Yeah, eventually. I guess all of them could be made into digital zines. There's this thing called Issuu, ISUU. Did you get rid of the other stream service? No, but it costs money if you use it over a certain amount. So I can't use StreamYard every time. And so this one is free, and it's called Restream. You can see the name up in the corner, the up there, Restream. So and it works pretty good. It works about the same. It's a little bit more difficult to manage though. So she's saying, there it is. Glimmer. Get ready for an exploration. There we go. Now we've set our tone, right? So select all, bring it down, bring it to 12. And we can just kind of put it right here. We got to stack our words up as good as we can. So that's a nice stack right there. And instead of calling her just Adrin the Cosmonaut. Do I have more words? Let me look up what I did yesterday. What did we call her again? She is called a cosmonaut. Let's see. The astral cosmonaut. So it's important to get this stuff right at the beginning so that the reader understands that it's not a Soviet cosmonaut, right? It's got to be. And we're best off if we can get it to just 4 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I do this, it's a nicer stack, but it's like 7 lines or 5 lines. If we can get it to 4 lines in a vaguely oval shape, that's a good way to go. And we understand that Glimmer is an alien that only speaks in beeps. If we just do it right away, and we see Glimmer for the first time, it's just like this little cloud thing. Yeah, the Issuu website. So you can take any PDF, right? Take any PDF, throw it at the issue website, and it'll host it, and it'll convert it into a flip book, which you can page through just like it was a zine or something. So that's one idea I had. Meet. Like, I don't know if I like it better like that or like that one. And she's going to say, I'm detecting life support enabled. How old is this tomb? This is a clue that we're going to put in because remember, we want to end this with there being these mutants that are in the basement somewhere that are going to attack. So let's see. And then we have her at the bottom. So let's see, what could she say? I put like when she takes her helmet off, like, I don't know if I want her to have like this bulky spacesuit, so I kind of slim the spacesuit down. Like the way I kind of imagine this character is that it's a like, you know, basically the attire of an action figure or the same size or whatever. So here's your question. Does a digital zine have to be the same size as a printable zine? No, but it does make it easier. Do you have an idea of how long the story arc will be? Once again, no. I'm shooting for this. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to shoot for 8 pages and probably miss, but I'm going to do my best to keep it at 8 pages. So an 8-page ashcan would be super easy to print. I think it would be really easy to print. And I like the color so much on the other thing. I don't normally like doing things in color, that I might do this one in color even. You know, she's supposed to be light blue, for example. And I've got space in the background. I mean, it could be really lush colors. We could do all kinds of things with it. She's going to say, safely aboard. Come on, man. Oh, I see what's happening. I should probably attach. I got new pen tips, so I've got them right there. I haven't added them yet. Safely aboard the Cosmo not Society. I don't know if I want to call it the Cosmonaut Society. Cosmonaut Legion. Oh, I could easily do a monochromatic one. The Tarzan one, I'm going to give all the credit for the color on that to Jake Moore, who wanted to do the color, and he was great. I think I asked him to do the color. I can't remember. But he did such a great job. I'm really happy with it. Safely aboard. The Cosmonaut Legion has so many missing records of this species. So we got our motivation set up that she's going to come here to like record somehow what's going on here. And there we go. 4 lines, 4 lines, 4 lines. We could also do like a Chewbacca thing or an R2-D2 thing where the alien talks in beeps and whistles. But our focal character would answer, you know, the other side of the conversation. All right, we need the, come on. Where it is? It's this meep. Oh, I somehow ended up rasterizing it. It goes to here. Now's my chance to to really impress them. Okay, so now when you use a line like this, you're giving a clue about what her status is in the group. She's obviously kind of new because she wants to impress them. And let's take safely board, move it up. Take this one and move it to the right. And that's looking pretty good. Okay. Is it stuttering more with I apologize. Fair enough. Fair enough. It says I'm going to get the PS pack for the Rhizo because I want to be able to switch between the Adobe apps. Yeah, absolutely. And then this one is there's some video stuttering. Might just be my internet connection though. I'll just I've had problems. All right. So the reason that they're on the tomb and not down on the planet, I'm going to say that the planet is completely like ruined. It's like a wasteland. But we don't really have to worry about that just yet. Rename as ink. And we're going to try and draw some of this stuff. I'm still going to use Rusty Nib. I just like it too much. Yeah, that's one of those. It's one of those things too. When you get, it's like when you're invested in something, you want to stick with it. So if you want to start right out with Fresco, which I didn't do, it totally makes sense that you would stick with the Adobe versions of things. I have this idea that these are like solar sails. And then, no, I don't like that one. And then we're gonna take the pencil layer. Oh, you know what I should do first? Panel borders. Let's do those real quick. Always good to knock those out. I have about 3 things I should probably also be doing. I've got the last remaining 2 pages of TerraQuest, one of which is almost done, but they ask for some extra details that I should probably put in there. I got to the end of May to do it, and it's not May yet. All right, there's that. There's that. Okay, boom, boom, boom. All right, we're going to try and how does it look without pencils? Looks pretty lame. Is there a reason you don't group your text layers to each panel so it's easier to track? Because it's easy enough, I guess, for me to not worry about. Although, I did just put all this stuff on layer 1, and it's not really layer 1. Plus, it's easy to fix. There we go, which we just did. Layers can be a pain. But they can also make your life easier. All right. That little vector trail is sort of tangenting things, but that's all right. All right, next up, I could do the planet. Let's do the planet. There it is. And then I had sort of details on the planet, like which once again, that's something we can do with color. Okay, and then I wanted to have not a ring like Saturn, but like kind of a sort of mist that surrounds the planet like a ring, sort of. Let's see. Eventually I'm going to get sick of drawing and I'll just be a guy that doesn't draw anymore. But for now, I really like it, so hopefully I could just keep it up as a habit, right? I've been drawing every single day since about 2019. And I haven't gotten sick of it yet. And I wasn't much of a drawer before that. I mean, I was a drawer, but I was like, you know, I wasn't doing it very often at all. I kind of remember the moment I got back involved in, I was running a D&D game and I was inspired to draw one of the characters or something, some of the characters. And I thought, wouldn't that be cool if there was a comic of my D&D game? Which seemed like an impossible, crazy idea at the time. But now it doesn't seem that crazy. I mean, you could easily do it. I don't like this. This is turning into a tangent fest right here. And this is too thick. Take some breaks every few weeks to chill and reflect. I can't stop. I do almost every day, Friday and Saturday. I'm going to get into Zen Doodles with Fresco. That's a lot of fun. Zen Doodles are a lot of fun. I got one of those books, and I do like doing some of the patterns. I don't know if you watch Peter Draws. I imagine you do. I mean, you know a lot of YouTubers. And he's a lot of fun to watch. Like, So anything interesting we do with this planet is going to have to be in color. To differentiate what are these different masses and shapes and things that are in there. All right. Next up, the star tomb. And once again, we've got to be real careful to use thin lines because it's distant. It's off in the distance. And it's an unusual shape. So I binge a few of his episodes every now and then. He's the same crazy self from a couple of years ago. Yeah, totally. I was following him during the lockdown when he quit school. I could not sympathize with him more. Of course, now he's gone back to school and he's doing stuff. Would an old school zine be in a monochromatic print? It could be either. Probably monochromatic, just because most zines are just monochromatic, but not necessarily. Like some of the art ones would be pretty elaborate. Oh, no, I want that line. I like that line. One thing I've got to figure out how to do is there's supposed to be these hieroglyphics or glyphs, space glyphs inside the tomb. And I don't really know how I want to draw those yet at all. For now, this is kind of falling into the realm of greeblies. Like in Star Wars when they would design some of the kit bashed ships, like the TIE Fighter and the surface of the Death Star. They would just kind of use any kind of leftover model parts they could find and attach them to make it look more technological. And they called those greeblies. And that's kind of what we're going to do with the surface of this tomb thing. What is Peter doing for schooling now? I am not 100% sure, but I know that he is still in school, and it's something like at one point it was going to be like designing furniture, but I don't think that's what it is anymore. I know he did do a bunch of sculpture stuff and metal sculpture, so that's why I think he's still in school. And he's got multiple sponsorships, and has over 1 million, I think, might be just several 100,000 subscribers. So he's not hurting for money. He could just drop out of school for a couple of years, I guess. If you go back to his very earliest videos, there's some really funny ones where he was like a summer camp counselor or something, and they had to clean up the camp. And like fix up the cabins and stuff, something like that. I'm only vaguely remembering it. It is not Saturday, Pisces Rising. We're just doing it for fun A for fun thing. This is Void Circuit. It's not related to any of my other comic stuff. I just was bored yesterday and I did a world building thing. You can actually see it on my live streams. Just says world building. And it was fun. And so I thought, okay, well, I'll just try and draw some of it. So I drew this page. I don't know if you can see it. I drew this page. And then I drew a second page, but I haven't really refined the drawing on the second page. Where am I going here? The second page is going to be cool. I'm hoping this is like an 8-page mini comic. There's my second page. You can see it's really minimal for the second page. Normally, I would be worrying about my Kubert School homework, but it's all done. And we're sort of in a wait and see mode, and rather than just worry about it. You know what I should probably be referencing is the one that Michael Golden did. Because there's tons of space stuff in there, like space adventure, space opera kind of shenanigans. That might be really good to look at. I have several issues of it. The zine of the theme of Summer Space Camp. I would rather not. I think my wheelhouse, my comfort zone with comics is sort of heroic adventure. It's not even really superheroes or anything like that. It's more like Saturday morning cartoons, giant robots. That sort of thing. So I'm just basically improvising a lot of the lines here to make it look more technological. What is the name again? How do you spell it so I can Google it up? The name of what? Which one? I forgot what we were talking about. Oh, Micronauts. Micronauts? The Micronauts with Michael Golden. They were also a line of toys in the 70s. I mean, it kind of fits with the theme that I was going for. This is inspired by action figures as well. But if you look up the Micronauts, along with ROM Space Knight. There were a couple of toys that Marvel did the comics for back in the 70s, and they're really good. Like the ROM one is really cool, and it's Steve Ditko, one of my favorite creators, the guy who pretty much invented Spider-Man. And Sal Buscema, not John Buscema, the other Buscema. The guy with all the space references you were thinking of. Yeah, Micronauts. Definitely Michael Golden. What do you think? Maybe not for you. Maybe he's not your favorite. I quite like him. I will tell you that later on in life, and he's still alive, I think, he would say, that was my worst work. Michael Golden would say, Micronauts was the lamest thing I ever did. But it was really cool at the time. I can't remember which issue. It might have been like issue 2 or something like that. There's one where he's with he does like a crossover with Man-Thing. So the whole conceit of the Micronauts is they're toys, right? They're action figures. But the lore of the series is that they're actually that size in real life. They're like they're 3 3.75 inches tall. That's what size they are. So like I had kind of a hope when they did Quantumania as an Ant-Man movie. I didn't go see Quantumania though. It looked like it was going to be pretty lame. I had kind of hope like, oh, they're gonna explore the quantum verse. They should run into the Micronauts. That's where they're from in the Marvel lore. Of course, that didn't actually happen. Let's take the pencils away. It's looking cool. It's got a lot of holes in it due to my loose inking. I could have actually done like a Will Eisner thing and hid my name in here too. like maybe this thing over here by the sea is like a way to get in. It's like a port. Same deal here. Yeah. Well, so it only makes sense to do that because nobody has any ownership. Like there's no like let's say you're a really great artist and you have an idea for a comic. The worst thing you could possibly do is go to one of the big companies, right? Because they only hire people as contractors. If you have some kind of great idea, it's like pulling teeth. Like so when no, his name is slipping my mind, but the guy who did the Golden Age, like he did that. He did art, writing, everything on that, and of course he has no ownership of that. It's like those are Justice League characters, you know. It's so you have no personal stake. You have no reason for it to succeed. So even when they have like a great artist go over to one of the big companies, they're just doing it for a paycheck. That's always what the story is. It's not like in the old days when they would go like, I have this great idea for a story, and Marvel would say, hey, you're hired. We want you to tell this story here. Excelsior. That does not happen anymore. Those days are over. And they would screw people over anyways, which is, tragic, but that's what they would do. But like when Jack Kirby would show up with the Eternals or something, or the New Gods, or Ditko would show up with the Creeper, that was something they created. And and they allowed, just as a consequence of just to get it published, they allowed DC to be the ones to publish it. But that's not how it worked out. Of course, they took complete ownership of it, which Alan Moore found out the hard way. And then we have this kind of crazy distributorship program where comics can only be distributed in catalogs. And Steve Geppi, who ran Diamond Distribution, did everything he could to get rid of everybody in the indie section. He said, they would even, like the rep from Diamond Distribution would say to the indie people, and this is according to Randy Zimmerman, who was one of them, he would say, we just wish everybody in this section would just dry up and blow away and die off, because, the only ones that we want to, really be selling are the mainstream ones from these big companies, because we can guarantee there's a guaranteed buy on them. And like in the old days, there was more than one distributor, and you could also get your stuff, into other places. You could sell it at different places. I bought most of my comics at the stop and go convenience store, the drugstore, wherever. Even the grocery store had them. Like when Nightfall, even as late as like when Nightfall came out, I was working at a grocery store overnights as a stalker, and you could take a break at about 3 a.m, and I would just kind of go over to the magazine stand and read. And I didn't just read comics they had books there. Like they had Jurassic Park. I read all of Jurassic Park, over a couple of weeks, because you only had half an hour or so. But there's just no incentive. Like you'd have no ownership. So you have to, if you actually have a comic or a story that you want to tell, the one thing you can't do is work at a mainstream place. Yeah, the comic book shops are going extinct. Well, there's one thing that comic book shops are really good at, and that's not selling comics. They don't really rely on comics anymore. For a while, they were relying just on like the Funko Pops and the, T-shirt sales and all the other stuff. I have no idea how they stay alive now. The only reason I ever go, and I do go from time to time, is to look at back issues, which I love. So if you have a bunch of back issues at your comic shop, I am happy to visit. What is happening? All right. There it is. It's back. But other than that, I wouldn't do it. And, I think that a lot of people, this is the real tragedy of the Ed Piskor thing, is a lot of people like me had given up entirely, completely on comic shops. Like for real. I didn't walk into a comic shop for like 8 years or something like that. Like maybe on one occasion or something. It was super rare. And cartoonist kayfabe kind of got people interested in like going back to these comic shops. And I even was doing some ordering online through my comic shopping, getting stuff in the mail. It was really inspiring again. And, and you see what happened to him. They killed him. Straight up. How do you get around that? Yeah. You haven't gone to a comic shop in 30 plus years now. Right, exactly. Nobody has. I will tell you that back issues are still good. Like rediscovering back issues and finding all the comics that I always wanted is easier now than ever, especially with like mycomicshop.com. But every once in a while you'll find something. Like I was in Delaware last year, and we just happened to stop by a comic shop that was like, we were walking around downtown, and I was looking through like their quarter bin, like it was like their dollar bin, let's say, but it said half off, right? It says 50 cents. And I'm not 100% sure. I think it's actually over there. Um, let me show you one of the comics I pulled out of that thing, because it's still shocking me to this day. I think, yeah, I do have it. Okay. So I go to their dollar bin, and I got a lot of the ones that are like removed, that had the covers removed. So they were $1, but it was like 50 cents. By the way, there's a Micronauts comic. There's a couple of them, actually. But, oh, here it is. So I see Casper the Ghost, and I go, for $1, an old Casper the Ghost. It's in terrible shape, right? This Casper the Ghost. Okay. It's in bad shape. And I got several of them. There's a couple of them. There's this one, and this one. I noticed the cover price is like 10 cents, right? So I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to zoom in. I don't know if you can see that. It says 1956. This is Casper the Ghost #2. And I got it for $1. From 1956. Like, that's awesome. Like, that was really cool. And then this one is #5. Oh no, I got it. Sorry, I got it wrong. This is 49. This is 5. This is #2. I don't know how much Casper the Ghost is worth, to tell you the truth. I never really even looked it up, because I'm going to keep it. But, the cover's attached. It's still readable. I like it. There's an old Space Family Robin. This is in the same box. Gold Key Comics. Isn't that cool? I'm going to keep this Micronauts out. I'll keep this one and this one. There's a Tarzan. I love Tarzan, right? All right. By the way, it's a Joe Kubert cover. Joe Kubert's my guy. All right. One of my favorites. I wish the whole cover was intact. Yeah. So there's reasons to still go to comic shops. The reason is old stuff. Same reason you would go to a used bookstore. I go to mycomicshop.com. And then you kind of got to know what you're looking for, but yeah. Does that look technological? Everything's got to be in pretty good perspective. I don't even know what these things are. They're just sort of like these floating shapes out in space. I kind of envision them as debris or destroyed satellites or something. Space junk. Yeah. So I think the one thing that'll keep them alive is manga and stuff like that. Yeah. Manga is comics. So I have very mixed feelings on manga. I actually quite like the mangas that I like. I love Astro Boy. I love Gosei Sentai Die Ranger, which is the original Power Rangers. I love original Kamen Rider. Original Kamen Rider is awesome. It is freaking awesome. It's not the kind of manga that looks to me like anime. I think some of the popularity for manga in the US is overblown, and is related more to the animation and not to the comics. So it's like, well, I like One Piece, so I'm going to buy the comic of it, but I'll just put it on the shelf to show that I like One Piece or whatever else, you know. Now, a lot of people really do like One Piece, and they like the comic, you know, a bunch. So it's not for everybody. Not everybody is like that, but I think some of that's like that. But I love certain types of anime for sure. One of the ones I never really watched when it was on was Dragon Ball. I'm like, I just don't get the appeal to this. And a couple of years ago, I love the Power Rangers. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I didn't get the appeal of Dragon Ball at all, and then there was another vacation we were on. I had my Kindle with me, and on a whim, I downloaded Dragon Ball. Like one. I think they had one like on special where you could get it. I mean, there's like 50 volumes of it, and they had one that you could get off of Comixology for free download. And so I downloaded it, and it was awesome. Like, I didn't even understand what the story was. And then, by the way, you know, this is what was so great about Toriyama. It's just one big fight scene for volumes, hundreds of pages over one fight scene, hundreds of pages. And it's, you know, with Frieza and Goku, and you know, there's all kinds of ups and downs as friends get involved, other aliens start showing up, but it's really just one fight, you know. And then they go to another planet and they have one fight, and it's still the same thing. I mean, the fight ranges all over the planet, and they're doing all kinds of other things, but it's literally just one fight scene when you boil it down. It's a great example of pacing. Like, that is the best pacing I think I've ever seen, was Toriyama. And then I got into some of his other stuff, like Dr. Slump. Dr. Slump is legitimately funny. I thought, I'm never going to understand this. It's some kind of Japanese thing. I don't understand the Japanese sense of humor that well. Dr. Slump is so funny. And there's also an understanding that when you're looking at Dragon Ball Z, you're seeing something created by Toriyama, and so it belongs to Toriyama. And when you're looking at Astro Boy, you're seeing something that belongs to Tezuka. But we don't have that same sense of creator ownership or creator stakes in the U.S. So it's like when you're reading Batman, I'm like, well, which Batman? We did at one point. At one point it was like, oh, the Frank Miller Batman. I like the Frank Miller Batman, and then other guys would say, oh, I like the Denny O'Neil Batman, or I liked it when Jim Aparo was drawing Batman, or whatever else it was, and they tried to sort of recapture some of that. We've got what's his name? Who was the guy that became kind of popular? He just recently did a Zorro comic, but it was never his. It was never his. Yeah, Japanese humor is totally next level. I completely agree. Dr. Slump is funny though, man. Hilarious stuff. All right, we're gonna try and we might be done with this panel before too long. So I'm at an hour, and I'm probably going to end it at the hour. But I'm happy to say that we're getting some actual progress on this comic. We'll do some more maybe tomorrow. It's either this or play video games. I'm a pretty boring guy in a lot of ways. Oh, I want to do like a space cloud of some kind. There's some stars. We'll do more stars than that. So I got to do something about this tiling up at the top. And then we're going to throw in some tones. Some screen tones. And some stars. And then that'll be it. All right, hang on. Let's take a look one more time. All right. Let's delete that. Let's just do it right here. Here's our last bit. Gives it that hand-lettered look. Shut up. Here we go. Oops. The comic indie scene now, there'll be artist identity with characters and stories again. I think so, right? It has to be, because they own it. You're not just seeing the character. You're seeing the character as created by, whoever made it. I think that's such an important part of the equation, and I think that's something that they didn't understand in mainstream comics. DC Comics for the longest time was run by organized crime when it was national publications. So I'm sure they were used to like robbing people blind. But that didn't mean it had to become the industry standard. To a degree, I think the same was true of Charlton, which is my favorite. But Charlton had a different attitude, and they sort of let people do what they wanted. At least that's the story I've heard. I love Charlton. Void Circuit. Yeah. Now with DC run by Warner Brothers, same thing. Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like they get the idea that people just, I don't know. It's just crazy to me. And what the disappointing thing is, there are a lot of people that'll play along. It's like, oh, I just love Batman. That's great. Well, I don't know if you know, but because you just buy Batman without ever opening it up, you just throw it in a poly bag and collect it. You don't realize what Batman is now. Like, do you realize just because of stupid cosplayers, like they've totally changed who Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn are? Completely. They've completely changed it. And it just makes no sense. Harley Quinn is part of the Batman animated series, right? That's where she debuted. And her entire backstory is based on her being in love with the Joker. And the version that they have now, because so many sassy cosplayers like dressing up as Harley Quinn, it's basically a character that would never be in love with the Joker. She's in love with Poison Ivy, is what it is. And this is all based on um one episode of the animated series called Girls Night Out, as far as I can tell. I don't know where else it comes from. What happened there? Don't know. I mean, I like that character too. I think it's a cool character. I like the dogs. You know, she's got the Joker's dogs. She's got the hyenas or whatever. The big sledgehammer mallet thing. That's a cool character, but I think they've ruined it. There it is. This will look good when it's colored, I think. Yeah, sex sells. That's why Harley got warped. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. All right, we got to do a space background on this, but I'm going to save that for later. Or should I just try and do it? I'm going to put it on its own layer. We're going to grab 45-degree light, bring it up to its top size. We're surrounding all of the things that we don't want to cover up a little bit. And then we're going to go darker. And then we want to go to full black. So this is beat tone shaders, just the dark. Let's go to the light one again. Okay. Then we just erase. Everything. Whoops. We're going to take this layer and just reduce the opacity a little bit so I can see where I'm doing. Is that true? Yeah, another silly thing. I mean, it makes no sense. It just makes no sense. I don't know who they think they're who's the target audience for this. I don't understand. I mean, I don't know. I by the way, also I think all these characters are really kids characters. Like 100%, these are kids characters. If you dress up like a bat to fight crime, that's a kid's character. And you shouldn't be messing with it too much. The only really good version in a long time has been the Brave and the Bold series, which is really good. I really like the Brave and the Bold series. How do I get this smoothed out? Well, that'll do it. Okay. We're going to keep going. I know I was going to get off, but as long as this is free. All right. Now we're going to reduce the opacity and clean up where our ship is. So we know the ship is visible. A blast trail coming, because it's got engine fumes blasting out the back here. All right, let's bring the I think I'm going to need more. Oh, this is problematic down here. All right, we can fix this by going what's called the halo effect, which is erase thin line, give it a thin white outline. All right, bring it back. I can't be scared to death of what they're reading. Yeah. And that's sad because we want kids to read comics, because who's going to remember comics otherwise? The reason we have, Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker and Heath Ledger as the Joker and Christian Bale as Batman today is because we watched the Joker and Batman when we were kids. So when you make things exclusively for adults, those adults get old and hopefully mature and die off. It's just inevitable. What are the kids gonna remember? We're gonna have like a gritty Captain Underpants movie? Are we gonna have like a really hardcore Dog Man versus Cat Boy? Cat Kid, I believe is what his name is. Dog Man and Cat Kid movie. Is that in our future? All right, I gotta reduce this and get the hang on. Because Batman is a stupid character. He's a guy that dresses up as a bat. It makes no sense. Are we gonna have like hardcore, gritty Mario? Mario the plumber. He's back and he's ready for vengeance against Bowser. And it'd be like, Quentin Tarantino is coming out of retirement to direct one movie. Bowser. You know? Wait till they get a load of me. Starring Jack Black. To be fair, I would watch that movie. I love Jack Black. I know, I'm being problematic here, I'm sure. The cool thing about doing this little side project is it's taking me no time at all. It's taken me basically a couple of afternoons. So I'm happy to do it. Whoa, 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 whoa. What's going on there? So I'm gonna disagree with you. I think that they've run out of money. They've done so many dogs. They've done so many, like they've made so many mistakes. They can't keep it up forever. And they can't play it off like, oh, just nobody wants to go see movies anymore. I mean, I was at both of the last Godzilla movies. That Top Gun movie that Tom Cruise did great. So there obviously is a way to make money in Hollywood. So if they have infinite money for this stupid stuff, I don't think it would be infinite money. I bet you it starts to run out. You know, of all the Marvel movies, the only ones that did well were the ones directed by guys who actually knew the characters and liked comics. So James Gunn and his Guardians of the Galaxy did fine. Everything Jon Favreau touched did fine. You know, She-Hulk? Nope. No thanks. The Marvels? Nope. I mean, I wouldn't go see it. And I didn't have to write anything about it online. I mean, it was just did not appeal. It looked terrible. It was terrible, apparently. So you let stuff like that die. I think that's a self-correcting, ultimately, situation. These bad movies. I don't think anyone wants to see them, really. Okay, I've got to do the title and the. Let's bring it back for a second to see what it looks like. Almost. Look at this big chunk of tones. There is some more tones I want to do, and I want to do this black part in the middle here too. All right, let me take the pencils out. That's starting to look good. This area is too dark. Yeah, there's no. This is a great point. The Wokers, because there's no new projects except for veteran writers, right? They've got the strike going on because they're mad. Okay. Let's see. I want to use crud. I'm going to use my shaders light. I'm trying to shade down. Whoa, nope. Okay. This seems okay. We're gonna do this mist thing, and then we're gonna do the title. Oops. Well, I literally could do it as no. I don't want to do it that way. I say bring it on. I don't have to watch anything. You know, it's just if it doesn't appeal, you don't have to go. And I think that's been shown. Like they're getting exactly that. So the smart writers are saying, okay, like when you do, like I don't know if you saw the Willy Wonka movie, it's really good, and they respect the Willy Wonka original. That's the only way it works. Otherwise, you won't get anybody who cared about that. I mean, why are they? Why is there so much interest in doing remakes, anyways? I don't know why. Can't you just appreciate the old thing for what it was, right? Oh, you really like that old movie? Great. Don't touch it. like don't ruin it. Oh, you notice people really like that thing? Just leave it alone. That's a good idea. Just don't touch it. I mean, because otherwise people will have their say and they'll just say, you know what, I reject this. I say no. No, thank you. And that's everybody's right. This will look really cool if I mix in like a couple of different colors on the space, like maybe like a purple and a magenta. Or an orchid and a light blue. Yeah, there's so many failures now. It's like it's ridiculous. I mean it's hard to get people motivated to go to these movies. I don't want to go to the movies. I did want to go to the Godzilla movies, both of those. I went to Godzilla -1 and I enjoyed the heck out of it. And I even took off of work. Like I took a day off of work to go to Godzilla the New Empire, whatever it was, Godzilla versus Kong. I really enjoyed that too. Good times. Had fun. It was the perfect thing to do, you know, to take a day off of work. If you take a day off of work, it better be worth it. Call in sick and go to the movies. I don't have a lot of time to go to movies, so don't disappoint me, right? Hollywood. And I see these cats striking, and I'm like, I 100% don't care. I'm not supporting them. I'm not supporting the studios. I don't support any of it. They're like, you have to support the actors. No, I don't. They're part of the problem. You don't have to support anybody, even me. Don't support me. You could find out where I'm selling these. You can avoid buying them. I'm not selling anything yet. I'm just a guy. Yeah. Just rent it or watch it online, obviously. I mean, you would think with all the problems they're having with piracy, they would go, hey, you know, we're losing money every time somebody pirates a movie, and that means they actually liked it. Think how much money they're losing when people don't even bother just watching them at all. Like, not only do I not care about your movie, I don't care about it at all, like ever. I'll watch a rerun, you know, over that. Okay, that is looking better. Okay, so then we darken it back up again. Boom. Looking okay. There is some missing stuff, and it's back here. No! Okay, I can fix that. Reasons. You wouldn't download a car. I would download a car, absolutely. If I needed a car, who wouldn't download a car? All right. Looking good. All right, we're gonna do the speech bubbles. Throw those on top of layer 11. Rename BUBBLES. I'm gonna do them in technical pen. I'm gonna drop the opacity out of this first, and we'll bring it back. This could be like a webcomic even. It has like a webcomic feel to me. I've tried on a couple of occasions to do a webcomic. Didn't do very well with it. All right. Oops, let's do this one. Hang on. So if anybody else is watching, I apologize for my various rants. All right, wait. Yeah, okay. Bringing back that. Dropping out my pencils, boom. And let's do some stars real quick. We're going to do the stars in white. And I'm going to put them on the same level as the bubbles, so it's really at the top. Okay, there we go. There's our first panel. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the next couple of panels, I'll do this on a later stream, but it has basically Arden does like a spacewalk. She leaves her ship and goes to the space tomb, the star tomb, and then she takes her helmet off and she's exploring the tomb. And then on the next page, I haven't quite done the pencils yet, but there's the basics. Is she's going to be looking at these hieroglyphs on the walls and recording some of it maybe with a device. And then she goes out on this sort of Star Wars-esque gangplank to nothingness, like kind of like Obi-Wan Kenobi. And then we're going to see the progenitor in ghost form appear, and he talks to her, and they have this conversation. So thank you very much for tuning in. Void Circuit will be coming soon. I don't know how long it takes. It'll be printed, maybe in color if I get lucky. I'll beg the great Jacob Moore to color it for me or something, or maybe I'll try coloring it. Who knows? Talk to you later. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, and I will talk to you later.